Hello, beautiful people. This is Dr. Dain, and I am inviting you to the SOP. Why? Because you have ESB. And once you have a platform for your being, it's a pretty friggin' awesome thing to be able to use that and use this connection with the ESB SOP universe to start having your life show up as if by magic. And in the class, you get to work on people long distance. And one of the interesting things is, for so long, SOP classes were done in person, and we would have a certain amount of people streaming online. And it was an interesting thing because I used the energy in the class to connect with the people that were out there in the world to make sure that they were part of this and that they got it also. And so I guess even in my own world, I thought it was a more of an in-person thing. Well, fast forward to 2020. Now we get to fast forward to 2021, thank goodness. But having done several SOPs and ESBs online, it's like the energy is even more present, and for a lot of people, even more accessible, because it looks like, and I had a meeting with the Symphony advanced practitioners yesterday, and I said, look, I know it looks like what you're doing is a session on a person, but I just created it that way to get people in the room. What it's really about is being able to truly change the world by your very touch. And in actuality, by your energetic touch, the touch of your being. See, that guy's fixing my pole. How does it get any better than that? And so what's funny is to have people tell me, like I had one guy after the very first completely online SOP, and he'd been in the room for most of the others. He said, you know what? I finally actually get it. I was like, what do you mean? He said, well, when I was in a room with all kinds of other people and I was perceiving how they were doing it and I was trying to do it the way they were doing it, here I was in my house and I could not mistake perceiving what was going on. And I was like, cool. And so the next SOP coming up is at the end of this month. And it's just amazing to me how accessible this energy is now. And do you still have to do work to expand that? Yeah, I do it every day. And it's just the work of getting more aware, the work you're already doing. But as you get more aware and you also have access to this SOP universe, which is what the class gives you. Oh, by the way, you don't have to know how to do SOP before you come to SOP. Reminds me of Gary's daughter who was going to take an algebra class and she's like, Daddy, I want a tutor and he's like, for what? She said, for algebra. He's like, why do you want a tutor for algebra? Because I want to know it before I get into the class. Okay, so you don't have to know it. It's just one of those things where if you're like, ooh, that sounds good. Like if you're inspired, if it makes you feel lighter at all, or if you do something crazy, like ask a question, like what will my life be like in 5 years if I do this? And it's lighter, then go for it, because everything else will fall into place. And so consider yourself warmly invited. And the recognition that for me over the last couple of weeks, I've gone through massive change again. And every time I do, there's more that shows up in class that other people receive as a result of it. Because as my space gets bigger, the space I can invite you to gets bigger. But also, the space you be gets bigger. And just look at it. How many changes have you experienced in the last couple of weeks? And how many of those did you kind of think might be wrong or bad because they were so weird or so different? And you don't suppose maybe you were already getting ready for this, do you? Maybe. And for those of you that just took the latest ESB, is it possible that you experiencing that made it so you'd like to be able to do that and be that and made you just desire more? I hope so. For me, I always desire more. I always hope for other people to desire more because I know how much fun it is to be able to not only desire more, but to actually be able to create it. This is about your life showing up from energetic magic. And we have capacities to do that are unlike anything any of us have ever seen. And now is the time. We've been pretending to be less than we are for far too long, getting a direct engagement with the energy that is possible and present from engaging with this SOP universe and being present with it over the 4 days of class as it continues to melt your world into something greater. One of the greatest gifts I could imagine giving yourself. So consider yourself warmly invited, and just know it might be more fun than you're supposed to have, but I think you can handle it. And on that note, my beautiful friends, what if you, truly being you, able to change the world by your very touch, able to create waves by walking through the world, are the gift, the change, and the possibility this world requires. I look forward to seeing you there. Bye.